Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast where we talk about the challenges of staying healthy and navigating our health in today's modern, fast-paced world. I'm Tiffany Simms, your burnout recovery expert and holistic wellness coach, and today we are talking about energy, baby. We are going to be talking about just all of the different ways that energy is showing up in our lives and how our new friend Gina here is going to share with us how she came into becoming an energy healer and what that has looked like for her life as she's transitioned out of a more stressful time into a little bit more peaceful and centered time. So Gina, I am really excited for you to be here and talk with us today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Aw, tell everyone, like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, what makes you you? And then we'll kind of just hop in and see where our conversation goes today.
Awesome. Well, I am Gina Marie and I am in Arizona. So I'm actually in the desert of Phoenix. However, home is up in the mountains in northern Arizona, up in Flagstaff. So it's just the whole vibe of Arizona, West Coast. And I am an intuitive energy healer. I'm a mom, I am a wife, I am just kind of all those coming together. And I made the big leap last year, left the corporate world to truly serve my purpose and being an energy healer full time.
I have so many questions. Okay, let's start with like kids. You're a mom. How many kids do you have? How old are they?
I have two kids. They're both teenagers. So my daughter is 16. She'll actually be 17 in 2 months. And my son is my little baby adult. So he is 19 and starting to navigate his adult life.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I don't have children. However, I can't imagine what it's like being a parent to almost adult children when I don't feel like I was that long ago.
So it's so funny you say that because like we always kind of like plant like, oh, we all remember high school and we always have like our high school reunions and you've been out of high school this many years, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, my daughter is a junior. I remember when I was a junior. My son graduated last year. Like, how am I old enough to have these like mini adult humans? I promise I'm not that old. I don't feel that old.
So weird. I ask my mom sometimes, I'm like, Mom, like what is it like to have a 39-year-old daughter? And she's like, I don't know whose kid you are. You're older than I am. And I laugh because like I'm older than my mom is in my head. Like my mom, I think, will be forever like 36, 37 to me, which I'm 39. That's not actually possible. And my brother's now older than where I mentally am. So we're 6 years apart and he's 33. And like in my head, I'm somewhere in that like 32, 33 time frame of like that's where did the last 5 years go kind of thing. And so like that's always, especially when we talk about energy, for whatever reason, time pops up for me a lot in that
Mhm.
conversation because it's just so weird. And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's like you're absolutely right because like I'm 43 and I remember when my mom was 43 and I remember like where I was and like looking like that's not that age is so there's so still so much of life for me to do, but I'm transitioning from being a caregiver for my children to being a partner with my children. So it's like the energy changes in that as well.
That's a really cool concept. One, I don't know what 43-year-olds look like because they don't look like us,
Yes.
right? Isn't that's a whole different topic. Like I thought 40 was old. I remember
Yes.
thinking 30 was old, and then I got to 30 and I was like, I'm kind of really young. And now you just said you're 43 and I was like, I'm 38 and I was like, I don't know what 40-year-olds look like, but we don't look 40 to me.
Nope. I'm just me. This is who I am. Like you're
Right?
just you.
50-year-olds don't look that old anymore suddenly. Uh,
That's so funny, but I actually think because I think society has changed that too, because when you look at, I just saw something, it was, do you ever remember the movie Father of the Bride with like Steve Martin, and they showed like him and Diane Keaton as parents and they were in their 40s, but you look at like me in my 40s, you in your late 30s, we're like, we don't even look like that. So the way 40-year-olds look in our society has just changed because our energy's changed.
The Golden Girls, I think, were only 50 when, like, in
Yeah.
their 50s. Like, Blanche was a 50-year-old, and I would swear she, like 70.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so I so got off on a tangent. Talk about, I told you, conversational podcast. We're just gonna go with it. Um, we talk about energy and we're talking about time. And you shared that part of your career journey, you were in corporate, you left it, you found your way into this intuitive energy healing world. What does intuitive energy healing really mean?
It's it's something, so when you just look at intuitive as a whole, we are all intuitive. We all have that little voice inside of us that guides us, that protects us, that keeps us safe, that helps us make decisions. However, like what I do is I help individuals not only find that voice, but have confidence in that voice and find those beautiful gifts about yourself, embrace them, but then also kind of releasing the gunk, the heaviness that life sometimes throws at us. And it's finding those is the best way I always describe it is like, I'm just a channel. You're doing the work. I'm just kind of in there with the flashlight going, okay, I think there's something over here. Let's dive in. Or I think there may be something over here. Let's see what that is. We find what it is, we acknowledge it, and we release it. And releasing those things incorporated with understanding who you truly are helps us create that life that we've always imagined. It helps us really go after our dreams and have the confidence to follow that beautiful heart that each and every one of us has.
Ah, so good. So, so good. And I mean that so genuinely. So, like, I also, a lot of my work comes from getting back into listening to those whispers. I believe that intuitive eating and learning how to listen to your body and what it's saying, like, if you can hear what it's saying when it comes to like how you're digesting your food and what foods give you energy and which ones make you feel groggy, and you can trust yourself to listen to that, then it opens you up to being able to trust yourself when that voice is talking to you, when a relationship isn't right, or
Mhm.
when someone says something or does something that's not aligned with you and like is actually really ugly, even if they use nice words, and trusting that you know what's best for you. So like I'm so aligned with you on that. Like I love that. Now, and the other piece, hold on, coughing. Sorry about that. The other piece of that that I love so much is that the way you just talked about energy healing was so practical. And I think that that in itself is a gift to listeners who may think that energy work is woo woo, and that that means that someone is going to tell me that I need to sit in a bath of crystals and pray to the moon and like take off my clothes and have this ritual. And that's not it at all. That could be part of how you explore the world of energy and how it ebbs and flows, and that you're one with everything. But like I love the way you explained it because it's very just practical. And I think that helps people open up to the possibilities of letting energy and energy work come into their life.
And I think that's been a big piece of my purpose, especially coming from the corporate world, because I think the facade of energy work was, it was very woohooey. It was, you know, let's dance around naked under the moonlight, or, you know, whatever we think about. But yes, you absolutely, if that's what you feel called to do, go for it, sister. Like dance under the moonlight, do what you need to do. But energy work is just being human. It's energy work is I am just a regular human being. Like I said, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I have my wants, I have my needs, I have my desires, I have my struggles, I have my successes, and it's just using it as a tool to help me live that life that I want to live my life with intention, and being able to help others do that same thing just warms my heart, because we only have this one lifetime. We have us right here, right now. So let's do it fun. Why do we need to carry that heaviness? Like, let's just embrace it and live that life that we are supposed to live,
Oh,
because it's
yes.
here and now. Let's do it.
Right. We only have right now. I heard someone say that the only reality is this present second in time, that everything else is a projection of what you envision the future to be or a recollection of what you remember about your past. And I was like, I think you broke my brain a little bit. Because we right now is the only thing you have. And I was just like, that this second is the only reality that ever exists. So make it count. And I
And
was like,
it's so right, and so much I see that with energy healing, because let's look at us as humans for a second, like, and let's look at us as a female, because we carry so much in our lives. We carry so much, we want to strive for so much, but sometimes some of our energy stuck in the past, because we're constantly thinking, what if I would have done this, or what if I would have gone this way, or what if, and that's giving a piece of our energy in the past, and we can't change it. It's there. So bringing, part of it is bringing that energy back into this present moment. And then we have the other piece of us that we're worrying about the future. We're worrying about, oh my goodness, am I going to have this, or how am I going to achieve this, or whatever that may be. It is very healthy to have big plans for the future, but when you're rooted in this present moment, this moment's creating the next moment, which is creating the next moment. So when you live this moment with intention, we're creating that future that we've dreamed about just by being right here, right now.
did anyone else, when she said rooted, find their feet to the floor? Because mine were crossed, and you said rooted, and my feet were like, wait a second, I need to ground myself.
Yes.
Put myself into the floor for the second and be here with Gina right now. Now, Gina, talk to me about what life was like a decade ago. Like, who were you? And, like, how did you find, like, talk about the turmoil, talk about the
Yeah.
talk about the real life stuff that, like, every woman is going to relate to, and how you found your way and how that helped you transform.
I was in the corporate world. Funny story is I actually started college as a nursing major because I wanted to help. And back when I was a teenager, my kids' age, 16, 17, 18, 19, in my head, I'm like, okay, I want to help people. That means I want to go in the medical field. I want to heal. I want to help. And I actually started college as a nursing major. And I quickly realized that the chemistry classes, the science classes, the math classes, I'm like, I can't do this.
This
I
is
got
not for me.
scared. Yeah, I got scared, and I quickly changed my major to hospitality.
Okay.
And I loved it. I loved it because I got to see the world. I loved hotels. I loved traveling. It was something that I didn't get to do much as a kid, but I always had that vision of doing it. And that industry allowed me to travel. It allowed me to have that piece of luxury because I got to experience things. And I love the hospitality industry. It was a base of who I was. And I worked my way up from being a front desk associate at a hotel all the way up to being vice president of sales and marketing for the largest hotel management company in the world.
Time out for a second. Hell yes. Talk about grit and, like, resilience and figuring things out when you didn't know the answers. Like,
Yeah.
that's a
And
superpower.
and it was just like, it's that determination, because we all have it. Again, whether we know it or not, we all have that determination or that gift inside of us of why we're making these decisions. Even when we don't really know where it's coming from, we have it. So it was in the middle. So I am a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a hotelier, like all these like different titles in my life. My kids are growing up, and my daughter, she was 2 years old at the time, she gets sick, and she gets sick and she quits walking. She's 2 years old, and we take her to the ER, and they can't really figure it out. So we're in the ER. I'm stressed out. I mean, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I'm like, like, what's going on? They can't figure it out. The next day I take her to our pediatrician. She's still not walking. And the pediatrician's like, okay, let's take some x-rays. We find out that both of her femurs are dislocated from her pelvic bone, and they're sitting 2 inches above her pelvic bone. So my little girl actually taught herself how to walk with two dislocated bones.
There's
So
so much in that one sentence. There's like, holy crap, your daughter is like the most incredible human. And for being able to overcome that at such a young age and like teach herself to do something through the pain and the discomfort. And at the same time, like, I can't imagine what it would be like to be the mom to find out that my kid had two dislocated legs and I didn't know.
Mhm.
Like, there's
and
so much in there.
and you know, as like they, when you go to like the pediatrician in their well checks, they always do the hip checks. They check and they listen for the click, because if there's no click, then if there's a click, that they know something's not right. She never had that because her bones were so above where they were supposed to be, so they just didn't catch it. So we were living in Flagstaff at the time, and we were immediately referred down to Phoenix Children's Hospital. And my daughter starts her first of 16 surgeries when she was 2 years old. So the first surgery, we know nothing. My husband and I are like, what is going on? This is crazy. So
Also,
they literally,
what
they,
was
hmm?
what was it like being mom in that moment? Like,
I don't know how I got through it. Like, I don't, I looking back, and I think I'm going to tear up just even thinking about it, because
perfect. You don't need to.
looking back at it, I don't know how we did it. I don't know. I don't know how we got through it, because when you have a sick kid, or you have a kid with a medical condition, all you want to do is help them. But then I specifically remember that first surgery. They took her back. We had to say goodbye, and I'm just a ball. I'm a mess. I am like bawling my eyes out. And then you just sit in the waiting room, and you just sit there with all these other parents, and you just sit there and you wait, and you have zero control,
And
because
all of the empty space in your brain. I can't imagine where it went. I can't imagine. I for me, I
Mhm.
feel like in that moment, like up until that point, it would just be like solution, 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 what's next? And in that silence of waiting, I would become an absolute disaster because I would have time for all of those intrusive thoughts to happen. Is that what would happen? Like, is that what happens?
Yeah, and I think the scarier piece is the doctor originally told us, okay, it's going to be like a 5-hour surgery, and we're like, okay. It was my husband and myself, and my mom actually came with us on that first surgery because I needed mama, like I my mama.
We always need them.
My in-laws had our son, so I knew that he was taken care of. And it was so heartbreaking because we know, okay, it's going to be about 5 hours. Like, you have that time in your head, but then you hit 5 hours and the doctor doesn't come out. You hit 6 hours, the doctor doesn't come out. And you see other doctors coming out talking to other families, but you don't see your doctor. And the this fear and the scared that you just have, and you just, like, you can't even talk because your mind's going 1,000 miles a minute. I know my husband's mind was going 1,000 miles a minute. My mom's trying to hold us together. 8.5 hours
Girls'
later,
minds go while being grandma and
while
seeing.
being grandma, her first grandchild, like, or second, it was like second grandchild, because we have my son, but I'm the first one. I'm her oldest, so these are her first grandkids. 8.5 hours later, the doctor comes out, because it was so much more serious, and he didn't know until they actually go into the surgery. So it was
Amazing.
just, that time was amazing. Like, just every time they've ever brought her through, it does not get easier when you watch your kid go into a surgery. Doesn't matter how old they are.
That that's hard. That's sucky.
But she did it. And like, she was in, like, those next couple of years of her life, we had surgery and surgery, and she's in a spica cast. So this cast goes from your chest to your toes. So she is, like, you got to think, a little 2-year-old girl, a 3-year-old girl, a 4-year-old girl, casted from her chest to her toes. And she was always smiles. And I think that was a piece that got me through. She didn't know any better. I have the fear. I have the what if, I have the thinking, thinking about the future, thinking about what I could have done differently in the past. But her present moment, because she doesn't know any better. She just knew this was life. And through this journey, we kept going through it, progressing. And in the middle of COVID 2020, her medical journey actually brought us to Maryland, because through her hip surgeries, she had a leg length discrepancy. So one leg was a little bit longer than the other leg, because when you have surgeries on your bones, sometimes a bone can grow faster than another bone. So we had to lengthen her leg. So we fly out to Maryland. We go through surgery in the middle of COVID. My husband flies home because at the time our son is 15 years old. And so he's at home in Arizona, and my daughter and I live in a hotel for 6 weeks. And again, going back to hospitality, thank goodness I had my hospitality family, because I was able to, they took care of me. I had a nice hotel room. We had what we needed. Every day we were in and out of a hospital in a state that we'd have nobody. And it was in that hotel room where I actually found human design, which was the first modality in energy work that I became certified in. It was in that hotel room. Taking care of her was where I knew something in my path had to change. And
now, were you
even,
working the whole time through all this,
yeah,
getting time off and schedules and life as a, an important person in the hospitality world, like for your company? Like,
and that's the interesting part looking back at it, is I still worked that whole time. Like I took little bits and pieces off, but in that hotel room, my only jobs was taking care of my daughter and working. That was it. Every other piece was kind of stripped away, because my husband was holding down the fort in Arizona. And I didn't have all the other things that when you're home, you have all kinds of other things that happens. The only thing I had in that hotel room was my daughter and work. So first priority, obviously my daughter. Second priority, work. And I had this time, and somehow, again, intuition, energy led me to finding human design, and I became infatuated with it. And it was because her and I lived in that hotel room for 6 weeks. I wholeheartedly know that was the breaking point of knowing that there was something bigger that I was meant to do in this world.
now for people who are new to human design, like how would you explain that concept to maybe like a third grader, for someone, so that they can just get an idea of what we're talking about?
It is literally the blueprint of who you are. So human design, it is takes a picture. The best way to describe it is takes a picture of your energy the moment you entered this earth. So it takes your birthday, your birth time, where you're born, and it takes a picture of your energy. And from there, it tells you your emotions, your fears, your gifts, your purpose, everything core about you. And these things are probably things that you may know about yourself. And even more so, it's things that you might know about yourself, but you're not maybe fully utilizing it. And you may see a gift as a nuisance instead of actually a gift. So it's truly understanding who you are. I think the best example is you in human design, you can see how you're designed emotionally. So when you look at a human design chart, I am designed that I can only feel my emotions. So I could be happy for no reason. I could be sad for no reason. I'm just like up 1 second, sad 1 second. I move up and down. And I used to hate my emotions, because I felt like I was always all over the place. But once I learned I was designed that way, it gave me permission to feel what I was feeling without having a reason attached to it. And then taking it, the special piece about this, why I discovered this in Maryland, was my daughter's not designed that way emotionally. So once I found this human design, I found this modality, I'm starting to research it because I'm like, okay, this is interesting. What is this? She's designed where she will always have a reason for her emotions, but she will also pick up emotions of others. So if I'm having a moment, because Baltimore was hard, it was hard for her, it was hard for me. So if I'm having a moment and then I get over my moment and I'm good again, if she picked up on that, if she picked up on my sadness, if she picked up on my fear, she would unconsciously hold it. And not only would she hold it, she would amplify it. So if I was having a moment and she is perfectly fine, and then her mood switched just like that, that's when I learned, oh my goodness, I need to teach her how to protect her emotions so she doesn't pick up on mine. And I have to be more cognizant of those around me because I had no clue that other people could pick up on when I'm having a moment.
Because you didn't experience that yourself.
No, because you could be having a moment and I will be there for you 1,000%, but I'm not going to start crying just because you're crying. I will still be there for you. I have that empathy, but I can't feel that exact emotion that you're feeling in the moment.
Now, experiencing the fact that, and like realizing, like, you know what, like I feel really deeply, like the highs and the lows, but they're always about me, and sometimes they're for a reason, sometimes they're not. And then like learning that someone else may be more like a sponge, how has that really helped you maybe um navigate the world? Has it helped you navigate the world? Have you developed new skills by being aware of that are now helping you navigate the world?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, especially for kind of going back to what we were talking about living in this present moment, is knowing that I'm designed that I could wake up in the morning and be happy for no reason. I could wake up in the morning and be sad for no reason. So it's allowed me to kind of calm my mind. So if I'm having a moment, if I'm just sad for a moment, I just let myself be sad. I let that emotion work through. So then it goes through, and then I'm back to my calm, cool, collected state. Instead of when I would have a moment, I would dwell on it. Why am I sad? Why am I this? And I didn't know why. So I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't figure it out. And when I was trying to figure it out, all I was doing was prolonging the sadness because I couldn't
Really
figure
could
it out.
a breeze and just float on through.
Yeah. And I was trying to, because even more so, because we're human, is I was trying to give a reason why for my sadness. So when I realized I don't have to have a reason why I'm sad, I was subconsciously creating things to make me sad. So then I can go, oh, this is why I'm sad now.
I love that you shared that because I think that that is very, very relatable. I think, and I don't know if this is if men experience this too, because I'm not a man, so I don't know. I only know from a female's perspective. We do that a lot. We something happens and we try to make sense of it, and we end up making a whole story that never existed, and then that story might lead to, like for me, led to me ending up in the pantry, which would start be the beginning of a binge cycle for me.
Mm-hmm.
I suffered for a while from binge eating disorder, or that like isolation of creating this whole story to make this thing make sense, and I've created this whole story, and now I've isolated myself from everyone that actually cared about me as a way of trying to protect myself.
Yep.
And like that impacts our overall health so much more than we realize, and a lot of times we don't even know we're doing it.
Yep. Because we're doing it unconsciously
Mm-hmm.
because we don't understand our energy. So when you understand it, you can go and go, okay, I'm giving myself permission just to be. I know it's going to move through. I'm just giving myself permission to be sad right now. I don't need a reason. A perfect example is like right now, I'm perfectly fine, calm, cool, collected. But an hour ago, I needed to cry. And you know what I did? I cried. I released those emotions. No clue. I have no reason why I cried, but I did. And I needed that. And it's gone because I have this subtle wave and my emotions come in waves. And knowing that and owning that has literally changed my life.
Just be giving yourself permission to be who you are.
Yeah.
I can like the peace that comes with that is undescribable to someone who unless you've experienced it, it's very hard for me to describe what that feels like. Are you able to put that into words?
It's like it's officially giving yourself permission to be you, because I think in society we think we're supposed to be like this, or we're supposed to be like this, or there's always a reason for something. And I think it's just knowing that, you know what, sometimes things are just like this just because. And it's being okay with that.
Oh, not having to dissect everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're right, like us trying to dissect, there are certain things that like I believe that we do need to dissect.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the stuff that floats in between the ears is supposed to just float right back out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I had the hardest time for like a solid like almost 10 years at the end of yoga. One of my favorite parts of yoga is shavasana. Afterwards is like the gift where you just get to be on the floor,
Yes.
right? And they tell you to clear your mind. And I spent like 10 years fighting with myself because I couldn't clear my mind. And guess what happens when you're fighting with yourself? Because thoughts keep coming in, more thoughts come in, and the thoughts you're trying to clear just stick around. And someone finally educated me and was like, Tiffany, it's not clear your mind. It's let whatever comes in, let it go back out. Like, just don't give it any piece of your mind
Mm-hmm.
and just be. And like, let the thoughts come in, see them, and let them go. And so like that's the I'm a very visual person. So like as you were sharing your experience, that's where my brain was making a cartoon to understand what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that same concept of just letting things flow in and flow out.
So I'm going to go even one step further with that.
Do
Is
it.
when you look at, for example, since we're speaking about the human design tool of energy, when you look at somebody's chart, so I'll use my chart in particular, is the way my energy is designed is I am designed to bring in ideas. So I want you to think of it like a fountain. I am designed to naturally bring in ideas into my head, which I'm one of those people like you think, 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 think. When I am with other people, like a yoga class, you're with 20 other people. I subconsciously, because the way I'm designed, will have ideas filter into my head. And I get to decide, is this an idea for me? Or is it an idea for someone else? Or do I just need to let it flow through? I don't have to talk to people. I just know that I'm designed of having these ideas come in. So on the other side of it, if I'm all by myself and I have zero creativity, I have a block, I have no clue what I need to do next. I know I need to change my environment, go somewhere, go work in a coffee shop, go somewhere, because then I don't need to speak to people. I just need to be around people and ideas start flowing, because it activates my energy and allows things to start coming in.
That's so cool. So like I understand human design. I've never gone down the rabbit hole of human design.
Mhm.
Um, and I was talking to someone actually earlier today who's also does human design stuff. Now, do you, might sound like a weird question. Do you feel that when you learn those things about yourself, it explained who you are? Or or do you feel like because these things were written about you, you made yourself that person, or both? Like now that moving forward.
I think it's both, because perfect example is I got the idea, however you want to call it, to become an intuitive energy healer, to really dive in on an airplane. And again, I don't like to talk to people on airplanes. And I always thought it was funny is when I'm on an airplane, I just get these crazy ideas. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like I'm trying to like sleep or read a book or something. And it's just because I now know that I need those ideas. I need them. But on the other side of it, it's also like using it for, because anything in life, energy or not, we can use it as an asset or we can use it as a negative. So it's like seeing each of our gifts and using it as our positive instead of using the negative side of it. Because the other thing, and I think back to all those times I've sat in that waiting room in a hospital and letting my brain go 1,000 miles a minute, it's because now that I look back and I look at my chart, I can feel other people's fears. So it wasn't like, absolutely, I was so nervous about my daughter being in surgery. However, I subconsciously could feel everybody else's fears in that hospital. So it was making my fear like get even more crazy. And it's knowing these things now and now being able to set my intention and protect my energy so that I don't go down those bunny holes of what if, what if, what if. It helps stay in this present moment.
Absolutely. Now, another weird question. So I know that your design has to do with like who you are, when you were born, the time, the place, all of the things. And I also know that there's an abundance of information that can be overwhelming in all of
Mhm.
that. Now, if do energy healers could they both get the same report and come up with completely different personality or like I don't even know the words that I'm looking for. Like would they give back project back to me completely different explanations or would they be the same or would they be like similar? Like is there differences in just interpretation of your results?
Yes. So there is like your core energy that was going to be pretty like everyone's going to kind of see the same thing. So when I look at a chart and I have somebody else look at a chart, they're going to probably from the core standpoint be able to pick out those things. But where it gets really cool is finding the interpretation and the gifts inside of the chart. And that's where people can kind of have different views on it of really tuning in. And I think that's where going back to the beginning of I'm just a channel. So when if I am doing, if we're speaking about your human design or we're releasing some energetic blocks that are clogging up your energy field, whatever it is, I am a channel. I am connected to you and I'm allowing your subconscious to guide me on exactly what you need to know in this moment. Because you're absolutely right is if you just look at a chart and you get this hour and a half of information, it's super overwhelming. So I like to take it and break it down of this is you, but let's look at them in smaller pieces so you can actually use this information to change your life. Because me giving you a report and just telling you 1,000 things about yourself, are you able to take that and really make an impact in your life?
So depending on our relationship might determine what come like what we actually discuss or what you pull out for me based off maybe someone else who's an energy healer and I have a different relationship with them, they would pick up on different things.
Correct. Like your energy is still your energy. But like that's one of the things I really love to do is the first thing I like to do is let's look at your energy. Let's look at who you are. Let's you learn you. You understand you. Let's do that first. And then step 2 is okay, let's find those energetic blocks inside of you and let's release them. It's kind of like we're wearing that energetic backpack and we're just used to this backpack because we're wearing it every day. But now we're identifying like there's these heaviness inside your energy. Let's identify what that is. Let's take that boulder out of your backpack and let's put it back on the ground. So let's learn your energy first, and then let's release that heaviness that you're carrying. So when you release those boulders, it allows you to really be able to tune into your energy, to
Gotcha.
tune into who you are.
Creating, so you're kind of, it's like creating a space for your other gifts to shine brighter or louder,
Yes.
bigger and brighter.
Yes.
Very cool. I love that. And obviously, like that was so impactful to you that you felt the need to like go take a whole career change and be like, I have to share this with more people. And so I just love when that happens, when like our messes become our new message. And for some people that's a career change. Sometimes that means showing up in your community a little different or starting a new hobby. Like not everyone needs a career change. Um some people do, if that's for you. I have to, sometimes I feel, and I don't know why I feel the need to over explain this right now, but I do.
Mhm.
But in this world, I talk to a lot of coaches and a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's like I ditched my corporate career and I followed my intuition. And so like for whatever reason, it's like I want people to know that that's not the only path when you hit resistance. Like there truly is, those of us who jump down that rabbit hole,
Mhm.
it's because there's been this nagging noise and voice for a really long time that it was like that you're like, I have to go follow this. It's not just because you got tired at work for the umpteenth time and you need a change. Like, and so I feel the need to, I don't know why I felt the need to over explain that to people,
Well,
but we're not anti corporate America.
no,
It's
and I think we're
following that
actually the
voice.
opposite. I think we love corporate America. So it actually brought up one of my clients. She finished my program, I think 2 or so months ago. Is she's in the corporate world. She was actually in the hospitality world, and we worked together for 8 weeks. We learned her energy. She learned who she was, and then we started releasing the gunk, releasing the energetic gunk, and she loved what she did. She loved her career, but she felt stagnant in it. And she was trying to figure out, like, I just don't feel like, just, ugh, it's just that feeling of blahness. And by understanding who she was, paired with releasing the gunk, while we were still working together, she got a huge promotion at work, and it was up into her, like, her next level career, and she was climbing the corporate ladder. So yes, jumping and doing this, coming from corporate world to entrepreneurship, energy healing, was for me. But majority of my clients have different, like, I just worked with somebody that was a stay-at-home mom and she's raising her 3 boys. Like, we all have our different paths. It's just, it's truly coming back home to yourself and figuring out what you want, whatever that may be.
I'm so glad I rambled on that. I felt uncomfortable doing it, but like I was like, we need to talk about this because in our
Yes.
world, I feel like there's a lot of anti-corporate. I ditched my job. I started my own
Mhm.
company. I did this. And I don't think that's the right answer for everyone. I don't think trusting your gut means I discovered this thing and now I'm going to go teach everyone. I think
Mhm.
that if you have that calling, it's for you. And
Yep.
so I just need a disclaimer, I guess.
And I will say, like, I I have so much thankfulness, gratefulness to the corporate world,
Me too.
because it has gotten me to where I am today.
I would not
Be-
be this version of me.
yep. And it's allowed me, I understand the corporate world. So it allows me to connect with my clients on a different level because I understand it. I
Yeah.
get it. I know what it's like.
I know
Let
your
me help
stress.
you get to that next step.
Yeah. Like I understand the stress. I understand the demands. Now let me help you with the gifts that I have to help you, teach you the
Yes.
tools to navigate that so you can feel alive doing the things that's providing the life for your family.
Yes.
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 Oh,
Yes.
Gina, so good. So I would love to know, is there anything that's left on your heart we didn't talk about or a message you want to leave our viewers with as we wrap up for today?
I think my biggest thing is be you. Like, be authentically you, because every single person in this world, you are meant to be you for a reason. You have these beautiful gifts inside of you. Be center stage in the story of your life. Take the spotlight in your life, and remember, everything happens for a reason. We need the struggles to understand the bliss. Like, I needed that journey with my family and my daughter to help me to where I am today. My daughter is who she is because of the strength she's had as she's walked this journey with her family. We need, just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not impactful. So embrace all the ups as much as we embrace the downs. We need them both.
Oh, so good. How do people connect with you outside of the show?
Best is on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is magic by design underscore HD. And yes. And also my website, which is magicbydesignhd.com.
Cool. Go click those links in the show notes. Go connect with her. You know, even if you're just curious about this world, like having a conversation with Gina does not mean that she's gonna like suck you in and you have to be a client. It's okay to go get curious and follow along and connect with other humans. That's the whole part of being a human, is being together with other people. And so with that, thank you so much for being here, and I will chat with you guys next time. That's Two Humans Talking. Bye.